dish of greens, not like you eat it anyway. Never wanna eat the things I like. Sometimes I cry, thinking of the things I used to be. Calling me a cat girl, calling me a bad girl. Think I am a bunny girl, oh. I never really know you to love me, regardless of who I become. Oh, so lonely, drifting out and out without you doesn't seem fun. It doesn't seem fun at all. For me, you let music pull you away. For me, not a care for oh, so lonely. Forget the days, yeah, you need a past lives. Who I used to be, oh, no one really cares. Pyong, 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 pyong. Pyong, 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 pyong. Pyong, 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 pyong.
Can everyone hear me? Hello, Latent. Hello, Neko Pupper. Hello, Nico Nessie. Hello, Jesse. Hello, Mikotan. Hello, Pixie. Hello, Vexus. Hello, Daniel. Let's see. Hello, Arkines. Hello, Sleepy Salmon. Hello, Hitsuzen. Hello. Hello, Hannah. Oh, there's hearts. Oh, thank you for the hearts. All right. Now, I think it's about time that I show myself. Ready? I believe, as a wise lady once put it, Pyon, 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 pyon. Hello, everybody. I am Odyssey of Odyssey Ruby, and it's great to say. Oh, thank you for the hearts. Since last we caught up, we have a follow from Nico Nessie. And no worries, you weren't outed. You showed up in the events as a recent follower. It's great to see you here. And if we have not met before, I am Odyssey of Odyssey Eurobeat. I make Eurobeat music that's been featured in Super Eurobeat, Initial D, DDR, other video games, Matarcon, V Shoujo, you name it. Chances are good I was at least somewhere in that. Oh, so many head pats. How are y'all doing today? I hope you're all doing very, very well this evening. Oh, Timber with the wink. Allow me to take care of that for you. That's the friend I was talking about. Okay. I forget which friend this was, but it's great to see you here. I hope you're doing well. And listen, we do a little bit of teasy here, but if it ever gets too much, Nessie, please let me know and I'll hold back. We are very much about comfort here. You're the one who's... That was you? Oh, right. Now things are working again. I should put that back. I just realized, yes. Whew, thank you for that. Been a hot minute since I've seen that one. Okay, let me go ahead and put head pats and throws back. Really admire. Aw, Nessie, that's so sweet. What the heck? Aw. Let's see, head pats and throw something at my face. Great. Aw, thank you. Yay, head pats are working again. But yeah, now you're here. I'm glad that you are. How's everyone doing? I hope you have had a fantastic Friday. And with that, a fantastic drop of the Benui remix. I know you have, darling. I hope you're riding that high for as long as you can. I am so happy for you, Creepy. And 80 streams in a row from Vieira. Can we get some love in the chat for Retro Vieira, Retro Anarchist Vieira, or as I have him labeled, Puppy. 80 streams in a row. That is dedication right there. I'll tell you what. Thank you so much for being around for such a solid chunk of the last few streams. As long as you're still taking care of yourself and doing what you need to do, then you're gonna be fine. And I'm glad that you're here. How is everybody? Ooh. I have a thing of, rather fittingly with the image, I recently restocked on baby carrots. So I'm munching on those with a bit of ranch, which I didn't even really think about until after. It's like, oh, I just did a song remix about a bunny girl, and now I'm wearing the bunny girl outfit, and now I'm eating carrots. Hi, I have a stereotype. I will bully Vera into take care of himself. Good friend. Good friend right there. That's good. I'll think with that, Butts. Just want to check in and say the Benui remix is amazing. Finally done with my work block. 5 days of freedom. Let's go, Sleepy Salmon. That's fantastic. What shall you do with all this free time? Oh, Vieira, 1 second. I just took a bite of carrot, so it's going to take me a little bit before I can get to that ara. I'm so sorry. My timing is terrible for this. I just recently got I just got my groceries delivered recently, and I put them away like a little bit before stream started. Carrot Benui. Exactly. Pyon. All right. Let me get it ready for you. Vieira, this one's for you, darling. Thank you for that, Bats. Arara. Iko da ne. Not my best, but I think it gets the job done. My ara can have some properties like that as a treat. I hope that still takes good care of you. I think for that, Bats. I think the next one I'll try to go a little bit like deeper with it. Chat. How many of you were there for the premiere of the Benui remix? And actually, who here doesn't even know about it? Oh my. Okay. I saw you there, Pixie. Okay, here's the weird thing. Right, not long before the stream started, there was someone in my chat on YouTube who called themselves Odyssey Eurobeat Ken Blast. So I take a look at their profile, and their profile picture is an older one of me, like before I came out. And their header is an attempt at, like, it's a really weirdly cropped version of my logo, done wrong. And they list my other aliases in their channel info, and their only upload was, like, Hammer, like, a weird remix of, like, Red Zone featuring, like, the hammer sound from Smash Brothers. So I reported him. Yeah, listen. I hate to mince words, and I try not to swear very much, but I need this word to stain the ears of whoever hears it. So if you are sensitive to profanity, I suggest that you turn away for the next 30 seconds. To my imposters, don't fucking impersonate me, let alone with a picture of my old self. Are we clear? If you want to start imitating me, I can stuff some estrogen down your throat. Otherwise, stay off. Sorry, had to get that out of the way. Yeah, no. It's one thing to... I've had imitators before. I've had people post things in my name that were completely unacceptable. I remember there was a forum site where someone had registered it under my name, and they were talking about their big passion under my name, mind you, was about being able to do some awful things in public places. Oh, creepy, are you okay? Or are you like, okay? Oh dear. You're so oh my. But yeah, no. So the thing was, like, a long time ago, this forum situation, they were very vocal about what people should and shouldn't be able to do in public that I didn't agree with and should probably stay at home. Public play. And I messaged them like, hey, you're not me. You're posting under my name. Please delete this or change the name. And they go, oh, you're stupid. You couldn't prove it. So I go ahead and make a private video on my YouTube and send it to them from my channel. I've since deleted the video. I'm like, hi, I'm Odyssey of Odyssey Eurobeat, and you're not. Delete or change your profile. And this guy goes, you don't have the balls, but fine. I'll give you the account. Didn't want it anyway. In the meantime, I think I spoke to, like, one of the founders of the site. Hello, Asha Hacks. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well today. The guy that ran the site, what I did was I changed the username. There's not much that we can do. We can't really delete the account wholesale. But the best that you could do is probably, like, rename it, change the password to something you can't tell, and just leave. I think that's what I did. But yeah, no. Listen, I've had enough people trying to bite at me one way or another over the last couple decades. Whether it's trying to be actually me or trying to be, we have Odyssey Eurobeat at home. I'm sorry, I did not mean to get too carried away with that. And I try not to show an anger too much. I'm not proud of my anger. I have some issues with how I express myself in that regard. But it upsets me. Like, a certain track that I was working on is on a little bit of a hiatus. Oh, I think you're the head pats. Yeah, I never look, wanting to sound like me, I sell my patches. I sell my serum presets. And there was a sample pack that I sold too. Like, if you want to sound like me, those are out there. If you're going to make a career out of sounding like me, maybe try to find some ways to sound like yourself. You're going to spend your entire career sounding like a cheap imitation of an older version of me and then turn around to be transphobic. That's a whole other story. But the point is, be yourselves. Be the best versions of yourselves that you can be. Don't try to be me, you know? Hello, Mr. Action. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well today. At the same time, you have every right to be upset and angry. Personally, I wouldn't judge. Yeah, thank you for the head pats. I suppose I get worried. There is some part of me that grew up believing that anger was an inherently masculine thing, which is not true. That it's a stupid thing that I believed back then because I was stupid and allowed myself to believe stupid things. A little bit of that association, you know, that's very much some of my baggage that I go through. The other part is, I would so much rather focus my energy on positive things, on happy things, on things that make things just better. So when I am angry about something, it feels like I failed to use my energy right, you know? Like, it feels like, oh, I really just let that bug me more than I should have let it, you know? Like, I really let them get to me, or I really let that comment get to me, and why did I give it the time of day? You'll just be a good boy and said, you're always a good boy, Neko Pupper. You're a very good boy. Yeah, that one's for free. I understand that. Yeah, I don't know, because here's the thing. Positive anger. It's not necessarily positive anger so much as just like, I try not to let myself get too angry. It's not to say that there aren't reasons to be angry. And I do have some baggage with, you know, anger in general. Or rather allowing myself to be angry. How do I say? Oh, did I miss your 80 stream streaks? That's right. I forgot that you three, like you two, let's see, Hopefully Human, Latent, and Vieira are basically tied right now. Can we get some love in the chat for Latent and Hopefully Human? 80 streams in a row. That is like, I'm bad at that with my own favorites. Like, I can barely catch that many streams of my absolute Oshis. So like, power to you. And if I had a hat, I would tip it to you, milady. Ah, yes, the fedora returns. But yeah, no. Being angry over something petty versus being angry over something that matters are two very different things. Yeah, I suppose so. I think the thing for me is I think in my anxiety, I tend to let myself get worked up. And misunderstandings follow. And I don't like how that feels. Even if I have something genuine, something that is appropriate anger-wise, it's just not it's not a feeling I like to feel. But yeah, no, I guess with imposters, I think it's just like, I spent so long being myself. I spent so long deciding who myself is and what that means and how I go about that and how I present myself to the world. And I made one of the scariest decisions of my life, deciding to be honest about myself with you all and come out as a woman. So to have someone use my name and likeness and an older picture of myself, it just feels a bit like, what are they trying to do with that? You know, like what are you trying to accomplish here that you're not getting elsewhere? What do you gain from trying to imitate me? And here's the thing. It's not like people can't find... Oh, just got back from Dr. Heater Chat. Welcome back, gamer. Good to have you. I guess the thing is, like, I'm pretty open about the fact that there are pictures of me from before I came out on the internet. That's been around for a hot minute. And dare I say, now that I'm not hating myself so much, I can look back and be like, yeah, dude me was attractive. Dude me looked pretty okay, especially in the tail end there. Hello, Josh. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well today. I guess it's just more like I make those available because, well, I built... Ah! Thank you for the 100 bits. We all love you too. Oh, Salmon, thank you. You're so sweet. And thank you so much for the 100 bits. Every bit helps. Every bit's appreciated. Can we get some love in the chat for Sleepy Salmon with those 100 bitties? You're sad? I'm sorry to hear that, Josh. The subjects are a little bit rough at the moment, but stick around a little bit. We'll We'll help you take a load off. Yeah. Hope you can have a grand old time. I forgot what I was on about. Not gonna lie, I made a mistake on my other monitor. Aw, Salmon, thank you. And, okay, I think words constantly fail me because my attention is easily split. Oh, 55 stream streak from Gamer. What a day to be alive when you find out it's been 55 days in a row. Oh my gosh. Gamer, thank you so much for 55 streams in a row. That is absolutely incredible. Speaking of, remember that whole bit I did during your Miss Berry stream during September? I plan on expanding that. I forgot about that bit. I am so sorry. The street racing stuff. I don't recall, sadly. But yeah, actually, now that I think about it, do any of y'all miss the Miss Berry streams? Like, I don't know. I guess I haven't thought about doing an RP kind of stream in a hot minute. Although, I do remember it was very fun when I did that. The weird thing about the kinds of streams that I do, it's weird because, like, I'll do something, I have a lot of fun with it, and then I just never do it again. I'll end up sticking to a ritual. So, for those who weren't there for it, I did an RP stream as, like, I basically did a little role play as Miss Berry. It was like that. It actually started as, the first half was actually a tutorial, like how to make Eurobeat. And then the second half was the students meeting me at the bar. Like I was a teacher at a university, so it was like, it could lean into more silly, goofy, a little bit flirty kind of territory, a little bit spicy. I remember I put an intense, like, disclaimer up on the top of the screen, just like, hey, this could get parasocial. This is not real. Please mind yourself. But yeah, it was a really fun time. I don't know, there's stuff that when I think about it, it's like, oh yeah, I'd love to do that. And then I just never do it. And like what's it? I need to put Discord away. I have Numi's server open. Who is Teacher's Pet? Everyone. Everyone was trying to be Teacher's Pet. Listen, all of y'all. Not a one of you, except for like Pixie, wasn't down bad. It was basically students on campus race each other, and I came up with the idea of multiple different disciplines. Ah, that makes sense. That's fair. You weren't either. Uh-huh. I handed you an apple. See, okay, technically that would make a Teacher's Pet. I suppose Teacher's Pet is different from down bad. Name Miss Berry backs me think of strawberry shortcake. Like the cake or like the character. Down bad for the cute streamer that we're watching. It would be an Odyssey stream if we weren't. Aw, what a time to be alive. I remember.
You're such a good girl.
I think I need to make that more expensive. Thank you for the 100 bits though. I feel like you do something like that like once or twice a stream now. Hannah, if I may challenge you to a bit more variety. Don't get me wrong. Plenty of us adore, hearing certain things, but after a while, thank you for the 100 bits, and I do believe that starts us on a hype train. Choo choo. Thank you so much for that. Very much appreciated. I shall be down bad for one person, and that's my wife. All others just get my admiration and affection. That is a fantastic take, and I support you and your wife, Hitsuzen. I hope that you two have a fantastic relationship that lasts as long as you may live. Yeah, no. It's one of those kinds of streams that I've thought about doing again, and then I never actually do it. And then I want to do it again, and then I don't. I still want to do ASMR again. Like, I almost want to like just gather a bunch of scripts and just read them. Or even just like, I almost imagine a scene like what's in the background, except it's more just like the open sky. What am I getting in jail for? What did I say? Is it the ASMR? Scared of a little ASMR? Hmm? I see. Cute. Very cute. Read a book you own, maybe. I suppose I could do that. Some good news. I just take my first step to the edge of the river of denial and started talking to the correct therapist about transitioning. But it's only day one, so there's plenty of time for me to fall back into denial, but I'm working one day at a time. Gamer, I'm so proud of you for taking that first step. And I'll say this. Usually being willing to take a first step is a pretty big sign that that is something that you need for you. I feel like even if you do end up falling back, you'll know that you can go forward again if you so choose. That is a big deal. That is a very big deal. And I am unironically very, very proud of you. Right. I think I need to put that like closer here. I'm trying not to reach into my own boobs. Okay. I think I need to get closer to the desk. And you're one of the people that have pushed me to the edge of getting out of the river of denial. See, I appreciate being able to help. I will say, however, all we can do is offer encouragement. It is on you to make that decision. You are the one who decided to do what's best for you. So I'm very proud of you on that. It is a scary and intimidating first step, but I hope that you are swiftly surrounded by love and support from those around you. That encouragement is the thing I needed to be able to even know that I need to get out of the river. Honestly, yeah, that, I know I needed a lot of encouragement. I remember I sought friendship, feminine friendship, sisterhood, in a lot of places before I was ready. And it took a lot of encouragement for me, like for many, many years, for me to finally embrace that I might very well be trans after all. That if I'm spending time in these places, if I'm seeking it so much, then I must be ready to pursue it. So, power to you. Just love the whole good girl thing because A, you're a genuinely good-hearted person deep down, and B, I just love hearing the phrase because I feel like it's a positive affirmation, not a soft on thing. I suppose so. I think, especially in the context that I have it on stream, there is a certain amount of soft dom involved. So, oh, this is the So Devilish remix. I think because there is a little bit of that element to how it's delivered here in chat, I think there's a certain amount of awareness in that regard. And no worries. If I didn't like it a little bit, I wouldn't include it. So make of that what you will. But I'm also gonna say, everything in moderation. Everything in moderation. Hello? Latent gifting 4 subs in the chat. Looks like that is, that goes to, Ari-chan 4, Elysian Shade, Girl on the Corner, Sweetball! Audie wishes me good luck in my marriage and she gets jailed. What is this insult? I think it's because I was talking about ASMR. Also, wait a minute. Are you trying to get a certain wheel to spin again? Don't think I don't see that. I'm wise to you. I'm wise to you. Don't think I don't see it. Us being one sub away from spinning the wheel and indulging in such shenanigans as writing a tweet and or recording something cursed. Don't think I don't see it. I'm wise to you. Anyway, all signs point to perhaps. I only did give 4 subs, not 5. That just adds tension. That just makes it more intense. So I saw a wine glass in thy hand when you lift it like that. Yeah. So this is, I'm moving the microphone, as you might be able to hear. But if it's in reach, it kind of looks like I'm holding a goblet. Ah, yes. Someone fetch me a poor person. Just so I can point at them and laugh. Oh. That's a terrible thing to do. Don't actually do that. That is not a good character. Come to think of it, I probably shouldn't have leaned into that bit the instant that I held that kind of pose. But I make decisions I regret. Microphone wine glass on the throne when... Ooh, that's interesting. I do have wine glasses already, but I don't know. Maybe one of these days when I do an IRL stream at my desk again, I'll hold a glass of wine. Goodness. I can only think of I don't know, anything that makes me more like a certain cockroach mom. Maybe I should try that anyway. You know, I do have my aspirations, as it were. Actually, I do remember that we started adjusting the way that we do Throne. Not because the Sleepy Salmon, thank you so much for that gifted sub. It looks like that went to Winry the Shark. Can we get some love in the chat for Sleepy Salmon and Winry the Shark? Please enjoy your emotes, your sub badge, being part of the Oddities community. Let's get some love in the chat for the both of you. And Deflated Eagles, also known as Hannah with the tip. No message with it. That's 2 wheel spins. I'll get it ready. I'll get it ready. Oh, right. Oh, no, we're there. Okay. So 2 spins. I'm going to go ahead and take notes as to what they are. Okay. Spin number 1. I read a copy pasta of Chad's choice. And number 2. I record cursed audio for Twitter. All right. So, should I just merge the 2 and just record the copy pasta for Twitter? What do you think? Separate things or just the same thing? Just being efficient. People, we need to get it to 69%. Which bar? Oh, the hype train. There's still time. Merge it. Okay. Well, then I need a copy pasta from you. Let's see. Put the wheel away. Thank you for the 100 bits. And now we are at 72% on that hype train. Choo choo. Yeah, I think 50 might have put it, I think 50 would have put it to like 70. And thank you so much for that hype train. Can we all get some love for everyone who participated in that? Okay, yeah, I'm trying to think about like what I should do. Let's see, classic copy pastas. Blanked up DVD, everything points to Amogus. Oh. Yeah, I could stand some insight as to which copy pasta to record. I mean, I could just do boy smell again. Let's see. I should stop spending more money, but I still want to buy SEB CDs in the Korg M7 VST. Korg made an M7 VST? I'm familiar with the M1. What about the Obama one with the well? Please, Mr. Obama, acting. All right. Okay, yeah, let me see if I can get that one. All right, then perish. Okay. Glasses copy pasta. What's the glasses copy pasta? Glasses copy pasta. Isn't it? Oh, is this the one that Fubuki said? Like, glasses are really versatile. First, you can have glass wearing girls take them off and suddenly become beautiful. Or, okay, I wonder if I can deliver them as quickly as Fubuki. Probably not nearly as fast, but let me give it a try. I like that idea. Actually, I'm gonna do that. The glasses one. All right, I'm gonna take a sip before I do that though, because voice is still out. And actually, I want to talk about that real quick. All right, so I'm gonna put it up here, and I think we should be able to do, well, as you can see, I've got it here. So I think I should move it just so it's a little easier to read. All right, here we go. Let me get. I'm not gonna do it in the fancy accent. It's already hard enough to do it properly. I'm sorry. I'm gonna refund those points. All right. All right, here we go. Glasses are really versatile. First, you can have glasses wearing girls take them off and suddenly become beautiful, or have girls wearing glasses flashing those cute grins, or having girls steal up protagonists' glasses and putting them on saying like, haha, got your glasses. That's just way too cute. Also, boys with glasses. I really like when their glasses have that suspicious looking gleam, and it's amazing how it can look really cool or just be a joke. I really like how it can fulfill all those abstract needs. Being able to switch up the styles and color glasses based on your mood is a lot of fun too. It's actually so much fun. You have those half frame glasses or thick frame glasses, everything. It's like you're enjoying all these kinds of glasses at a buffet. I really want Lunar to try some on, or Marine to try some on to replace her eye patch. We really need glasses to become the thing in Hololive and start selling them for Holocoming. Don't you think we really need to officially give everyone glasses? I think I did it okay. Originally by, what is, yeah, I suppose you could clip that. Who was it that did the original? That was Fubuki, right? And what is Fubuki's Twitter? I might as well at her. Let's see. Fubuki. She did call me Fubuki, right? What is her handle? Fubuki Hololive? Hello? Why? Uh-oh. I should probably get the music going again. Okay, Twitter. It is just Shirikami Fubuki, okay. Shirikami Fubuki. Shirakami Fubuki, okay. Shirakami Fubuki. Okay. Thank you for the head pats. Translated by... Who actually... Who did the original translation? Okay. I'm gonna see if I can look up... No, I'll just credit Fubuki and then I'll just put it like that. Thank you for the head pats. And yes, I will hydrate. So chat, I'd like to talk about something. Everything's cool. None of you are in trouble. It's not to do with anything you're doing. Also, I feel like I need to update those things. Overlays. So, I want to talk about the day that I took off and how I might do that again. So some of you might recall that I took Wednesday off of streaming, in order to let my voice rest a little bit. And I did. Actually, didn't say very much that day at all. And, it helped. It helped a lot. Like, it actually, I feel like my voice was able to recover a little bit on that day, which is a good sign. And something that I think might affect streams next week. For those of you who don't know, I will be performing at BabsCon, not this weekend, obviously, that would be today, but next weekend. So I would like to save my voice for that. And what I'm thinking is I would like a couple of days before the convention to keep my voice safe. I'm thinking next week I may only stream on Monday and Tuesday. Not just because of BabsCon, but I haven't taken time to like actually let my voice rest. Well, I'm gonna scooch a little closer to the desk again. I haven't properly taken time off to really let my voice rest. On weekends, I tend not to let it unwind. I just kind of rewind. You know, sometimes when I'm over the hill at my parents', I end up, you know, kind of pulling auntie duty, which I love doing that. But then I want to talk to my family, or I want to play with my nieces, and that involves a lot of voice play. And with that, my voice doesn't recover. The other thing is streams have been going really well lately. And as any streamer can tell you, any amount of time off can be dangerous or even fatal for a stream. And I know that you all mean so well for me. Thank you for being very willing to support my health in that regard. Even with that, it's hard for me to take the time off to do that kind of thing. But I think, unless there's severe objection, gosh, my eyes are giving me trouble today. Short of severe objection, I think I may take, I may only stream Monday and Tuesday next week. And for the rest of the week, save my voice for BabsCon. With that as the case, the words left me. I'd like to ask, what two things should we do next week? Why will not let me do more than that? Like that I'm putting up two fingers, but it barely even registers the one. So we usually do, thank you for that, Putz. We usually do stuff like games or just chatting or Eurobeat production or live, thank you for that, Putz. I'm starting to do more IRL pata dances and things like that. Oh, thank you. We'll do something that will protect your voice. I mean, I kind of speak about the same amount whenever I'm streaming versus not. I do appreciate that, though. I guess, the concern that I have is... Oof, did I ever get enough sleep? Why are my eyes weird? You know, I guess I just want to make sure... I'm going to throw the question back. What would you like to do for the streams? I'm kind of torn, because... lately, I've been enjoying the schedule. Did you just say you were doing IRL stuff here? Where should more? So some of you might recall that on Wednesdays I do my dance practice. That's mostly pata dancing, and recently we added the routine for Luka Luka Night Fever, which is more like idol dancing, like stage dancing. Mori Mouse, Pyon Pyon. So I could do one of those on Monday or Tuesday. And we could play some games. We could do all kinds of stuff. I hate my phone's autocorrect. I actually don't do autocorrect on my phone. I try to avoid it. I know I wouldn't complain about pata on Monday before I have surgery on Tuesday. Let me jot that down, though. Okay. I feel like whatever we do in the next 2 days, like the next 2 streams, I want to make sure that I'm spending good time with you. I think one of those days could primarily be just chatting. Maybe like half of it could be a game or something else, and then the other half could be chatting. I feel like we got some good talking in during Supermarket Simulator. I thought that was pretty fun. But lo-fi just chatting. I'd be down for lo-fi just chatting. Do pretty much whatever, and I'm gonna still be here because you are as entertaining as an entertaining person can be. Chatting in games will be fun. Okay. I think so what if let's see, all we avoid is infinite craft. I don't know how that went. Yeah, I kind of screened myself pretty hoarse that one. It's interesting too, if I may yap for a little more, for a little longer. I think I found a weird resentment in yeah. I think, you know what I think it is? I did so much coughing during COVID. I hacked on days where I thought that I was doing permanent damage. It got bad. And I go in, and they've shoved a camera up my nose to get the back of my throat twice now. Maybe 3 times? ASMR soft voice shouldn't strain you all. Coincidentally, I've heard it from, I think it was actually Cotton talking to someone else, saying that whispering and certain forms like whispering can be just as straining on your voice as yelling. I could do, well, I suppose ASMR isn't the same as whispering. I could try it out. But I guess the thing is like, back to just the thing that I might resent. So I go in, and 2 or 3 times now, they've taken a look at my throat. And they've, you know, the granuloma is still there, little bump on it. You don't have to visualize that. You really don't have to. But every time they go, well, could be this. Anyway, here's how to reduce GERD. And I understand, you know, one's diet does have an effect on how one does, and reducing caffeine and reducing acids and things like that. And hydration is certainly fine, but I have very few symptoms of acid reflux. Not to say that I don't have any case of it. I certainly have had some. Let me... thank you for the reminder. I've been drinking nearly a gallon of water a day. A gallon. That's not small. And I've been hydrating well. I've been eating a little bit better. I've been exercising. One of the things that they talk about with GERD is like, oh yeah, you know, being, having a weight above what is, you know, whatever expectation for, you know, for height and age, etc., can have an impact on that. And I'm sure that's great. It doesn't seem to line up. And even when I'm doing very well on that, I notice it hasn't changed much. I still have a glass cannon. Some part of me feels like it's not being taken seriously. Like it's, oh, we think it's GERD, or even if it's not GERD, we're just gonna throw that at you. Just do that, see if it helps it. And it's not like I can't go, can you put redeems on a timer, like a 10-minute cooldown? I could. With hydration, I just take a small sip. Yeah, salmon. I think because I take a small little draw from it. Oh, thank you, Hoots. I feel like it's okay in its current state. US gallon, it's nearly 4 liters. Be careful of overhydration or water toxicity. Yeah, I suppose that's fair. That is possible. I do notice that I tend to just, I basically just tend to let it out anyway. But I will be careful, about, you know, how much. I don't always succeed at drinking a full gallon every day, but I'm pretty darn hydrated. There's some part of me that feels like, they're not, like they're just kind of brushing it off. Drinking a gallon of Monster work. No, don't do that to yourself. as much as I love caffeinated energy drinks, like, please be careful with that. Oh no, as someone who once wanted to do, like, someday dreamed of, like, no, I don't even, I feel like that would only be like a fantasy, because, like, oh gosh, a gallon. Oh goodness, that would, I don't think that would kill you, but that would definitely do a number on you. So I guess the thing is, I kind of, it feels a bit like they did not listen to my concerns about post-COVID damage. They didn't listen to how certain factors. You'd watch for your tone of voice next streams, not speaking too heavy. I don't know if you get what I mean, to know the English proper wording. Closest I could think of is if I spoke completely like this for the entire stream. This is as natural as I can do it, just not even putting on a voice for stream or any amount of thank you for the headbats. I could speak like this for the entire time, but that that just feels no energy. There's no character behind it. There's no enthusiasm behind it. In some way, it feels like asking me to speak naturally would be asking me to stream with little to no enthusiasm. I think it was a Numi stream where she talked about how she and Porcelain Maiden, or Joel, were very different, away from stream versus on it. And that's not to say that I'm, completely, radically different. Does it sound like no energy? It just sounds like trying to conserve your voice. Yeah, I think I get hard on myself about it though, because like a certain amount of enthusiasm, maybe a word banner in the stream for context, protecting my voice. I know that Ori will occasionally have streams where she just literally doesn't speak, or she'll just type in chat. We've seen us chill, not no energy. Yeah, I will say there does seem to be something kind of ironic about a Eurobeat focused streamer having a chill, low energy day. Not to say I haven't done it, but I don't know. I just wish that it wasn't such a constant talking point in my channel for how many years now? I hate being insecure about it, but on some level it is my livelihood. Production is only so much of why I'm out there in the world. My voice is another part of it. And I guess to some extent it is because it has an actual impact on the goods, on the material, on what people do with my material. I'm done with energy drinks. Maybe go to the hospital last week. Oh my gosh, Salmon. I am so sorry to hear that. I hope that you'll be okay. Like that's a pretty big deal. I will also say that I do think some amount of my voice apparatus is just inherently resonant. Bark Bark got a jet adulting to do, so lame. Take care, Neko Pupper. Thank you so much for popping in. Have a great rest of your day, and have a great weekend, yeah? If you ever do an art stream, like say you're doing album art, you could just mute the stream and say mic is off today for vocal rest. Maybe so. Actually, that reminds me. This weekend, I will be part of a couple of streams. I will not be streaming my side of things, but I will be hopping on a couple of times during Blitzy's stream. She's doing like some 30 hours or something of alternating between a few games and the Splat Fest. So I'll be hopping in for, I believe it's Mario Kart and Golf with Your Friends. Gonna have another sippy real quick. Apparently energy drinks can contain a little too much potassium for constant drinking for some of us that take meds. Yeah, you do definitely need to check. You definitely need to check what's in them. Since that incident, I feel like I'm getting heart problems, had some chest pain during some work for days after. I feel like that would do it. If I can't live with energy drinks, then I can't live. Careful with that stance. Like, please do live. I mean, I still love, powdered gamer beverages and even some carbonated energy drinks, but if it ever got serious to the point of where I should never have them again, then, well, that would be that. I can certainly live without caffeine. Why am I getting two... What? Oh, okay, sorry. I got a message request. Yeah, let's see. Thing is, cola doesn't work on me at all, even though it contains caffeine. I think the thing is, like, the amount of caffeine in regular cola, I mean, it's definitely there to perk you up, but it's just kind of like just enough, you know? The average, like, if I remember right, Red Bull has like 80 milligrams, whereas cola tends to have somewhere around the 30 mark. I think the Panera lemonade, like the Panera like charged lemonade, was somewhere in like the hundreds. And mind you, the maximum you should ever have, according to I think it's the FDA, is like 300. Let's see. Sorry. I love 80s, 90s. You're in the right place. I may not have been doing production until, the late 2000s, early 2010s, but I do make Eurobeat, hopefully a bit more like the 90s. I do also love the 80s stuff, Italo Disco and such. Death Lemonade. So we were talking about Panera has this charged lemonade, I believe it's called. The mango yuzu citrus charged lemonade with 390 in a 30-ounce drink. 390 milligrams. 390. That is a huge amount. In the 80s, we had everything: rock, disco, top 40, R&B, funk, soul, house, reggae, freestyle, high energy, rap, and even the beginning of New Jack Swing. Here in Europe, we also had new wave, synth pop, Italo disco, Eurobeat, Eurodisco, and even the beginning of techno. Happy days. I will say, I was born in '89, but my dad raised some winners. I'll put it that way. We listened to the good stuff, and I would say there's still a good breadth of variety here and now. I think a lot of those genres have evolved in ways that make a lot of sense. In the world? Oh, I think that's an AI bot. Ignored. Also, hello, Dart. Good to see you. 11 cans of Coke. Yeah, you'd have to pound that back pretty quickly. When I say I felt awful for a week, I mean I felt death. New Deutsch Well was a music style in the 80s fast pop songs. I'd say it actually kind of resembling Eurobeat. That kind of makes sense. I know that a lot of genres, how do I say? Sometimes genres kind of get predicted ahead of their time, and people don't know what it is until it comes along later. I did once drink 8 canned espresso drinks in one sitting. That was a terrible. That'll do it. That'll definitely do it. I think I might need to censor something when the bot goes up. You ever just break your own rule in accident? Anyway, 8 canned... Okay, you gotta be careful with caffeine like that. And mind you, I love caffeine. I adore the stuff. So, like... I also understand that I can't have all of it all the time. I should stress that it's a very bad thing to do and I shouldn't condone it. Yeah. And mind you, I used to, this is an intervention. I'm not having, thank you for that, Bets. I'm not having nearly as much caffeine as I used to. I maybe have like a 24 ounce, thing of like gamer beverage. Hello, Skylord Zoe. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well today. But yeah, no, like I'll usually have like one of the big shakers of gamer beverage, copyright registered trademark. Some restriction applies. See store for details. I'll have one of those, and that's about it. Which is, I mean, that's a good amount. That's a pretty hefty chunk, but that's about it. And I kind of keep it at that. And even then, I don't finish. I tend not to finish the darn thing. I did gamer subs when. Funny you say that. I used to be. Oh, think of head pats. I used to be affiliated with gamer subs. What happened was there were a couple of controversies that bumped up at the same time. And one of them was to do with the artists. In short, the original artist that started the waifu cop trend was not properly compensated for their work. As well, there was some information about the at the time founder that was pretty surprising. And it was not comfortable. Like, he had said some pretty awful, like, homophobic, transphobic, just like the works in building that business. So between artists not being well taken care of and the owner being a transphobe, homophobe, by the way, not Schlatt. Not Schlatt. This is before ownership transferred to Schlatt. But since then, apparently, they've taken better care of their artists. And since then, ownership has moved away from Jerko make Jerkface to Schlatt. And to my knowledge, I don't think Schlatt's done something quite to the same extent as the founder did. So I've been a little bit more comfortable supporting gamer subs lately. Amelia, we're talking about gamer beverages and caffeine, and how I used to be affiliated with gamer subs. And I'll say this, by the way. I used to admire Advanced quite a lot. And it's not to say that I don't anymore. I would say that they do some things a lot better. I know that their chill line is a particular note for me. But, what do I say? I noticed that a lot of folks that used to be with Advanced are now going over to gamer subs. And people used to talk very well about the support from Advanced, and they aren't talking about it that way anymore. And gamer subs seems to be doing a little bit better with things. So, and it's not just, and mind you, a lot of this is probably also just marketing. It's also they're getting big names to come over from Advanced and such, but I think it's the amount that they managed to pull where it's like, what's going on at Advanced that makes it hard for some of the folks that used to be just loyal diehards to stay? I don't think Simple Flips is behind the cherry vanilla flavor anymore. Mousy stopped endorsing stuff with Advanced for a little while. I think she had the pink lemonade flavor, like the raspberry lemonade flavor. And now I think she's with Gamer Subs. Numi used to be all about Dream Team Punch from Advanced, and now she's with Gamer Subs. So there's something to consider with that. I don't know, and it feels weird talking about it so openly. And mind you, I do not mean any kind of flack against these companies in their current states. What am I trying to say, though? I guess the thing is, I've considered going back to gamer subs. Partially for, affiliation, partially for, a decent supply. I remember I quite liked a few of the flavors. Mousy had the strawberry demon plasma, which is advanced strawberry. Yeah. Is she still with Advanced, or is she? I feel like a lot of the Vshoujo gals are now with gamer subs. On who's your favorite Eurobeat vocalist, like from the 90s and 2000s? Mine is Virginelle, Lilia, Matland. Matland is really good. I really like Neo. And I'm not sure if she was 2000s or early 2010s, but Kimmy. who was with Delta. I believe she was with C-Pro and Sandrini in that branch of Delta. But she was also really good. I also really like Roberta Grana. And I mean, also, let's see, favorites. Favorite. Yeah, Neo could do no wrong, honestly, like vocally. Neo's 2006, 2007. You know your history. See, a lot of y'all are like academically solid on Eurobeat. I'm not. I don't think I'd be able to give you individual dates. I'd be able to be like, yeah, 90s, thousands. Here's roughly how they sounded in that time. Here's another way they sounded. This voice is here. I think the thing for me is like, I may not know the names of everything, or rather the years of everything, but I know enough names and I know enough about the sound to be able to recreate some things. Sometimes I feel like a bad Eurobeat fan though, or at least like I don't know enough of what I'm doing. Some part of me is like, I should know more before I do things, you know? You're a top tier Eurobeat producer. I think that gets you a pass on any fandom gatekeeping. What do you call an old snowman, a glass of water? I see what you did there. And Maury, I think you might be surprised. I had, and I think there might still be some of this floating around a little bit. There's some folks that think that because I am not 60 and an Italian man, that I have no business being in Eurobeat. This was like a thing. There was someone who used to go, screw Odyssey Eurobeat, you know, use my legal name, that brony ableist slur bitch killed Eurobeat, and went out of her way to talk smack about me because of this, and accused me of being pretentious because something, huh? It's a genre of music, not the human genome. And I don't remember, like, yeah, right? And I even tried to joke like that, and they got really snippy with me. And it's like, really? I, like, either I'm not effective anymore, and I have no power, or I've ruined the genre by doing brony Eurobeat ever. And this somehow single-handedly wiped out the genre, despite the fact that it's still actually going right now, and in fact might even be having a weird amount of resurgence. Never mind that, I killed Eurobeat. Oh, really? Seriously? But yeah, no. There was a little bit of that floating around for a little bit. You know, there's been some amount of that, and I think there still will be. Because see, here's the thing. And I understand some of this, by the way. In the Eurobeat world, there is a lot of love and respect for the traditional Italian producers, like the ones that came from Italo Disco and sharpened their teeth on Italo Disco and high energy. I'm gonna take a sip real quick. And, you know, they've had years and years and years and years of production experience. So by the time that I was starting, and even just like chipping away at stuff, these people had, actually no, I think a better example. By the time I was a concept, these producers had made hits. So when some rambunctious little upstart comes along and starts making claims about the genre, it's like, who the hell are you? What are you doing here? Who do you think you are just because you've done one or two tracks? But there is something to be said for when that snappy little upstart is working with the people that they recognize and actually trust and appreciate and respect, admire, etc. And it's like, okay, so, and by the way, I want to say that this doesn't just happen in Eurobeat. Giancarlo Pasquini, Dave Rogers Genius, absolutely. And I love that he's still going. And Farina of Asia, 3B, SciFam, etc., right? Yeah, Farina. SciFam stuff is a really mixed bag for me. Sometimes it's a super hit or super miss. Like, for some reason, a lot of their stuff was like, you started in like 2010, Running the 90s came out. I started earlier than that, actually, Sleepy Salmon. I started getting on people's radar around 2010. Like, if I remember right, stuff for When the Sun Goes Down was like 2009. 25 streams. Hello, Mako. Hello, darling. Good to see you. I hope you are doing very, very well today. Thank you so much for 25 stream. Yeah, no, I've been around for way longer than just 2010. Not way longer, but I've been around for longer than 2010. I would say I've been more active in like the last 16, 17 years. So the issue is more to do with, okay, talking about, right, so when I hop in and such. So the thing for me was I started getting myself in everywhere. I started just made a bunch of Eurobeat. Because you can just do that, you know. If you have synths and you have samples and you have a DAW, you can just make Eurobeat. You can. Yes, it helps to understand the basis. When the first Toho Eurobeat came out, by the time the first Toho Eurobeat came out, I had well done other stuff. Like, and by the way, Salmon, I don't mean to, I hope I'm not coming down too harsh on you, but, yeah, no, I had been doing Eurobeat for a good bit before Toho Eurobeat came out. I had worked with Sugano before Toho Eurobeat. Like, we had done a couple of songs together before Toho Eurobeat was a thing. It was actually how we met. So, Running in the 90s is probably the oldest Eurobeat meme to date. I wonder if that would actually fall to either the Japan Break Industries remix or Speedy Cat. No, I think Running in the 90s might be further than that. Yeah, exactly. Walt Internet. So here's the thing with like the mindset that I see in Eurobeat. It's scary, and people found a community in a genre that was very true to its time. In the 90s and, you know, the early thousands, a lot of that charm, there are some bumps. The transition to 3D. The transition to 3D, sorry. The transition to digital, as opposed to just all, like, outboard synths, was a doozy. And I think it had an impact on Eurobeat in a way that wasn't always smooth. It's not to say that no one could do it, so much as I think that had a bit of a bump. And with that, there's a certain amount of like, oh, you know, Eurobeat was better back in the day. You know, good Eurobeat came from this, and it must sound like this. Even I fell for that a little bit. Like, oh, I gotta sound like DJ Command. I gotta sound like A Beat C. I gotta sound like this time period. Like it was about recreating a sound. Thank you for that, Bats. And I think what happened for me was I stopped focusing on trying to sound like Eurobeat and started to make my own music that happened to be Eurobeat. I remember when last we rated Turbo, he and I kind of hijacked the stream to have a discussion about it. And he's like, I think what there's a way to write Eurobeat. It's to do with the songwriting. I'm doing his accent a disservice, but he's right. There's a way to write Eurobeat. And it's not to say that it must sound that way. I think you could, in theory, it's possible to remix just about anything into Eurobeat style, but there's an emphasis. There's an emphasis on the sound design and the production that falls apart when the composition and the heart of the track is gone. And mind you, I feel like I actually did more innovating in the late 2010s than I have in the early 2020s. I've been kind of sounding like however I want. I've been making little like covers and spiritual successors and things like that. I haven't been doing stuff like chromatic or ultragraph or something. I haven't done that in a while, and I'd like to, but client work kind of makes it hard for me to do that. And when I do have the time, I tend to make something more traditional. I think people want to... Hello, 8-bit gentlemen. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well today. I think when people think about like, oh, what makes good Eurobeat, they're very focused on the sound and the people that delivered that sound. And it's a good sound. That kind of synth brass is something I seek out. Like that chunky A beat C brass in like Express Love or Pamela by Matt Land. Listen, there's only one sound that I could reasonably deliver for that particular brass, and it's this. It's that good. But there's so much more that we can do with it. There's so much more that we can do with Eurobeat as a form of expression, as a genre of saying things other than just Burning Love, Car, Baby, Fire, Desire, Tonight, Drift, Tokyo. And I hate to be harsh with it, but I think that makes the difference between an amateur and a pro. And that's not to say that being an amateur is bad, so much as sometimes when it's, you know, someone is a little bit newer to the style, you can hear that effort to sound. And mind you, this is still not a bad thing, because think about, you know, say that you wanted to make dubstep. You know, you go out and you might buy some presets, and you know, you'll basically make a preset salad, and you'll throw a couple of loops in there, and it'll sound derivative. If it's anything like how my experience with bass music was, it'll just sound derivative and like cheap and bad. And okay, not bad. You got to start somewhere. Isn't it like saying, I hate such and such band's new stuff, it doesn't sound like them anymore when they just evolved? Kind of, yeah. The one instrument that makes me do that is the 808 slap bass, like in Supercar. Oh, yeah, that slap bass. Ooh, yeah, Supercar has a special place in my heart. But that's the thing, like, so change in the Eurobeat world is scary. Because for a lot of people, Eurobeat is where they found stability. It's where they found community. It's where they found something exactly, you know, something that they love exactly as it is. And they don't want it to change. Why would they? Why fix what isn't broken? Despite the fact that, well, okay, I was about to launch into something that I'm not sure if I wholeheartedly believe. My opinion on marketing Eurobeat, which is sadly a necessity. On the one hand, Eurobeat doesn't need to change to reach modern markets. Yeah, eyes in the background. So, how many of you remember that trend in like was it 2020, 2021? It was Da Pump doing a cover of USA. USA! Come on, baby, America! If you watched VTubers in that time, they did covers. If you watched Inugame Korone and Okayu during that time, as in from Hololive, you probably heard them do a cover. That song blew up. That song was a slightly reskinned version of a song by Joe Yellow from the 80s. They didn't have to change Eurobeat all that much. All they did was dress it up in slightly modernized synths, give the members of Da Pump like some Supreme cash guns and nice t-shirts, and it did amazing. There were other Eurobeat hits since then. So my opinion is as such. On the one hand, Eurobeat doesn't need to change to be marketable, but I think Eurobeat does need to adapt and grow and rub shoulders with other genres and share space and compete on the international scale, and with that, learn some things and bring it in to continue to exist in this space. Eurobeat doesn't need to change. Those who love Eurobeat stick around no matter what. Besides, there's multiple decades of big catalog to enjoy. Yes, but there's no innovation. No one is trying to make anything new about it. No one's trying to make anything that is truly revolutionary. Okay, when I say no one, that I am falling for my own fallacy here. There are people that are making cool things with it. Turbo has been shaking it up for quite some time, and that's speaking nothing of like Dominic Ninmark or Vikas Beatbox or Dev Zozo or so many others. Eurobeat needs to become more commercial to succeed as a popular genre. That's what Da Pump did. They K-popped it. I think I wouldn't inherently say that it needs to become more commercial so much as I think it needs to rub shoulders. It needs to be on the market. I wouldn't say that it needs to become full tilt pop. Also, hello, Jimmy. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well today. But, and again, there's, how do I say, I'm trying to be, to some extent, respectful of where I stand, because I came into this a lot later than those who have set the standard. But I also feel like I have spent some time in the genre. I have spent some time learning about what it takes to make Eurobeat, to be part of that creative, expressive side. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we just need to throw dubstep presets into the Eurobeat. Lord knows we've tried that. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. The point is more, oh goodness, it's really windy out. What the heck? Sorry. If I drop power all of a sudden, that's why I leave. Sorry. Hello, Bowser. I would say it's more that it needs to be available. It needs to be visible. And there are some genres that are out right now that aren't necessarily huge, but they have an effect. Like, how many of you are fans of hyperpop? Okay, and that's a very broad term. I feel like hyperpop was a specific sound. It was like a very specific sound, and then there's kind of been deviations from it. Kind of like kawaii future bass versus just standard future bass. Clara Elena Moroni was, Cherry. I wonder if hyper techno will suddenly pop up in the Oricon charts, be it in a remake. Honestly, I've been having so much fun making hyper techno lately. I'd be super down to be part of hyper techno's resurgence. Country kind of involved in a similar way to what I think you mean. Lots of country sounds like pop or rock and not just vanilla country. But so here's the thing. I think instead of saying Eurobeat should go one way or another, like that's like all of it. And that doesn't make sense to me. Eurobeat is flexible. There was a time when it was more like, what you'd find on a more generalized sound on Super Eurobeat, but then you had stuff like Maharaja Night, where it was more based on its disco roots, or more like house oriented, a little bit more techno influence. Or you had stuff like that's where all these series I think used to come from, like Eurobeat Darkness, Euromach. There's all these sub sounds that you can get within Eurobeat, and I think we could have that again. And by the way, all this to say, like we were talking about like some of the opinions that folks like threw at me pretty early on in my career, like, oh, you're not a 50-year-old Italian dude, piss off. In fact, I'm going to go out of my way to libel you wherever I go. How do I say? I understand where the fear comes from, but I also, what you're saying is Euro country can exist. Do it. Try it. Listen, I'm a California educated trans woman. Of course I'm going to be like, oh, try all the things. So obviously I have some amount of bias in that regard. Perhaps there's a risk that if it does get popular, it gets ruined by funk, like funk did. I didn't know that funk was ruined. I don't know enough about funk to be able to determine that it was ruined in the first place. But if it was, how does one determine that a genre was ruined? Also, forgive me a second, I need to stand up. My legs are sweaty and I don't have my seat cover on today, so I'm just being really gross. I'm gonna sit on my jacket. Disco never died. Funk's genre got mistaken. I think funk got dubstepped. What is dubstepped? I remember. So. Chat. I have a theory. A game theory. Sorry. Eurobeat is being ruined because it got more popular. If I may ask, define ruined. What is the standard by which something is ruined? What makes a genre lesser? Genuine question. This is not a rhetorical question. Like what determines if a genre becomes worse? The lack of albums. So that sounds like a marketing problem. That sounds like a sales issue. The existence of the quality of a genre is not inherently dictated by the sales of one of its examples. Ruined in general versus Ruined for You personally is very different. The lack of Pada Pada releases. Again, I think that still comes down to sales and availability issues. Pada Pada could still happen. Pada Pada DVD releases. So, okay. I think that still boils down to sales. Like, okay, so if people aren't able to buy it, or if they aren't buying it, then figure out what's going wrong. When people can't accept something having a subgenre of itself, I think that becomes an issue of art that doesn't appeal to someone versus art being bad. They stopped Pada Pada DVD releases because they weren't selling anymore because it got pirated too much. Oh goodness, the piracy discussion. Okay. How do I say? I have complicated views on piracy. Not to say that I am inherently full pro or full anti. Pay your musicians. Pay the folks that make the music that you want to listen to. Period. That should never be. I'm not full hentai. No. I'm full anime. That's different. I feel like I think it was no worries, Blobseal. Good to see you. How do I say? I think it was Gabe Newell that said piracy tends to be a service issue. And how do I say? I feel like in the modern era, it is a wild surprise to me that certain things still have nationally restricted publishing. Back then I pirated because I didn't make money or have a way to pay. Now I pay for stuff like YouTube Premium or in your case, Patreon. Thank you for that. And again, I'm not going to sit here and have a magical solution for piracy. On the same token, I remember making an account on Mumo.net, lying about having a Japanese address in order to use my American-ass credit card to buy Eurobeat. So I feel like the Eurobeat world, I've seen effort in the Eurobeat world to actually do things legitimately. And the more options there are to get something legitimately, the easier it is. Like, the easier it is to just get something proper for 99 cents. That should account for something. Is it a downgrade from the way that people used to buy it on CD or vinyl? Arguable. That's a different story. I need to choose my words carefully because I have a bit more insight on this than I can let on. I have had unique conversations about where and how I would personally share Eurobeat with the world. I'm pausing it partially because I need to think properly and partially because I don't want to say, I need to process to not say something foolish. And for me, I theorized, and mind you, this is not some be-all, end-all perfect solution. This isn't going to magically save Eurobeat forever. Oh, goodness. But it's my theory, and the one that I've spent the most time with. Putting Eurobeat in front of new culture. I think Shinon once brought up the idea of new cultural contexts. Right now, the big one for Eurobeat is, Ninja Initial D and MF Ghost. But for a little while, it was also Pada Pada dancing and nightclubs and things like that. And when there's exclusivity, it reduces that impact. It reduces the ability for other things to compete in that same space. And with it, the ability for other products to actually kind of, it reduce that. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, competition's the best all the time, forever and ever. But it does have an effect. When there's something else keeping you on your toes, you tend to be a little bit more active. and you tend to stay a little bit more fit. And for me, the idea is to make Eurobeat available and a presence in front of multiple cultures. And sorry for the serious tone with all this. I feel like looking back over how I did things, and I look at how Turbo has grown and how a lot of other Eurobeat artists have grown independently. It's been fandom stuff. You're gonna start doing Eurobeat parties again. Go for it. Listen, if you want someone to call in, hi. I'm gonna put the music back on again because it got a little too serious. I think about kind of what I did with MLP. And mind you, that doesn't say that you immediately have to do fandom music. You really don't. Just instead, for me it was MLP, and then it was Toho, and then it was other things like that. There are people that interact purely with just Toho Eurobeat, and they're having a ball. There's a huge amount of just Toho Eurobeat. And with it, fans that are fans of Eurobeat without a drop of Initial D or MF Ghost. And even then, I'm not going to sit here and act like Initial D or MF Ghost are the poison and bane of the Eurobeat world. They're not. That's kind of my point, though. Eurobeat can exist in an and state. It is not a zero-sum thing. Eurobeat is a genre of and. Initial D and MF Ghost and Gyaru. Initial D and MF Ghost and fandom music. Initial D and MF Ghost and nightclubs. Do you get it? Initially MF Ghost and remixes of existing popular work. Y'all know that Avix has a United States subsidiary, right? Avix USA? Like, you know that is a thing. They've been behind some of the biggest hits of the last couple years. They have. With your weird version of what is Eurobeat. Jimmy, I would like to ask you about that weird version of what is Eurobeat. Could I have you clarify what makes it so distinct? I've heard a few people refer to it. I remember a friend of mine even once called Toho Eurobeat the spilled milk of the Eurobeat world. And as someone who's been on both sides of the Eurobeat world, I want to understand, what is it about Toho Eurobeat that is so distinct that people dismiss it or actively talk poorly of it? I would go so far as to say I think I've heard more innovation from Toho Eurobeat than I've heard from the mainstays. If it's Eurobeat, it's Eurobeat. I like it. That's kind of my stance on it. Like, I remember when Eurobeat Rebible from Megarex came out, and there were folks who were like, "Oh yeah, hyper techno," and it's like, huh? Does it say Eurobeat on the box? Well, yeah. Are these tracks Eurobeat? I say Toho Eurobeat, but I mean the J Eurobits and the songs that come from that. The sound worlds aren't my thing, too hyperactive and synthetic sounds. So that sounds like a personal distaste. The J Eurobits and the songs that come from that. I mean, given that Toho is a subset, like it's an existing IP, that is like, of course it's going to sound that way because it's based on a source material. And then too hyperactive and so if it's a taste thing, then why is it such a? I gotta say, people treat Toho Eurobeat like pineapple on pizza. Like the folks that like it's like, oh yeah, I like it, and the folks that don't like, how dare you like the thing? It's spilled milk and the worst, and I'm gonna crap lava. I like pineapple on pizza too. But you kind of get what I'm on about. Like, people are treating it. There's a difference between, oh, that's not for me, versus the talk that I see about it, which is Toho Eurobeat is bad. Or, in some cases, killed the genre. I don't get it. And I kind of wish, and please understand, if there is an actual problem, if there is an actual ethical issue about how Toho Eurobeat or J Euro or Eurobeat that's not made by the 7 approved labels from Italy. Aaron, thank you, 67 months in a row subscribing. Can we get some love in the chat for Aaron, the one, the only, Aaron CB? I hope you're doing amazing. I I want to understand if it's just a taste thing about, if it's just a taste thing, then I'm surprised at the amount of vitriol that comes from it, because people act as if it's an objective standard. The way that I've seen it talked about and discussed, I mean, and mind you, I feel like that's somewhere my own bashing came from. And by the way, I do understand that. Sorry, words are kind of failing me right now. Sound world, Jimmy. I understand that is an issue that my work has. And I've definitely spent time with it. And while it's not something I'm particularly great with, I have tried to think about that. And there is something to be said for a repetitive or frequently used sound world. So while I don't want to write it off, but please understand that I am looking for legitimate, I am earnestly seeking the legitimacy in a lot of these claims. And a lot of what I see in here. And I guess what I struggle to understand is there seems to be a blurring between, oh, it's not for me, and I'm going to talk smack about it wherever I go. And by the way, I can also understand like something not being for someone. And I feel like I've seen your comments about me. And they're fair. They're legitimate. I do have sounds that I use too often. I do have things that I do too much. But, and mind you, I don't think you've spoken ill of my work in the same way that I've seen people talk about like, J-Euro or Toho Eurobeat. But there seems to be a blur for those sections of the Eurobeat world. Like, oh, J-Euro is trash. Why? Because I don't like it. Well, no. You can't, that just means that you don't like it. But enough people seem to be like, oh, it's bad, to where they take it wholesale and they apply it to those things. And they go up to the people that are doing it and go, you suck. You make Eurobeat worse. Pardon my French, but there was the one that said like, fuck Odyssey Eurobeat, that brony slur bitch killed Eurobeat. Pardon my French, sorry about that, but like, and she went out of her way, I think including to Brat Sinclair. Seriously. So it's not a matter of like, it's not even just a matter of like a taste thing. It feels like it's being used too far. I think if it was just purely a taste thing, I would want to hear people speak as a taste matter instead of acting like it's ruined the genre, it's killed everything, it's reducing the sales. No, it's not. Unless there's numbers to back that up, unless there's some admission to back that up, I'm sorry. I think I have some bitterness to work out about that. And mind you, I don't want to write it off. And I'm sorry, and I don't mean to pin this just on you, Jimmy. Obviously, like there's so much more to this. But you should counter this claim. Something says this is trash. You have to answer with, yeah, it's a taste thing. I've done that as much as I can, but I've got to be honest. Sometimes it's kept me away from interacting with the Eurobeat community at large. It's weird to me that I do it every day, even at work or whatever. I think the thing is like, I don't know. I guess I don't understand why folks listening to Eurobeat feel the need to assert taste as fact. To assert, to take personal opinion about something that is inherently defensive. Like, subjective. And turn it into harm. And there's some Eurobeat that's not for me. I've been pretty vocal about how much I don't much care for Futura's tracks. I still think Wild Boys by Rich Hard is awful. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, Sunfire was terrible all the time, forever and ever. I actually really liked Give Me Sunshine by Futura. And I also really liked Pirates by Rich Hard. I guess, I don't know. So it's hard for me to figure out the idea of, oh, this killed Eurobeat, this killed the genre. It's like, people still make it. If it's not to your taste, then that is just not for you. doesn't mean that it's dead. I think what I would need to see in the Eurobeat world is for people to either defend their stance or confess that they've kind of been dicks about how they handle it. Eurobeat's not dead. Eurobeat hasn't been dead. When Super Eurobeat died, the genre didn't die. Super Eurobeat was briefly asleep, and then it came back as an annual thing. It's here. Like, it's still around. It's still doing annual installments, and it's making cool stuff. Okay, yeah, died was the wrong word choice. As you can tell, I'm a little bit passionate. I don't know. I feel like even if Super Eurobeat ended and never did another thing, which would be sad. That would be awful. That would be absolutely awful. If Super Eurobeat ended, I feel like people would still seek Eurobeat. People would still seek certain sounds. People would still seek what Eurobeat is. I do fear the Italian Eurobeat is dying, though. The fan-made Eurobeat sounds very different to me, and I find it hard to get into fan-made stuff. So there's actually something that we can work with there, Jimmy. Because here's something to think about. I can tell. While I'm pretty sure my own stuff probably has some fan-made sound to it, I also think that there is something to be said for the years of experience and the sound design that may not be there, or even just songwriting that may or may not be there. It can be different, but I think on the same token, there's a certain amount of encouraging risks that is inherent to growth and expansion. And I don't think that the Italian way of making Eurobeat is going to die out anytime soon. The Italians are still here. And I feel like within the independent and amateur community, there is a desire to sound like the Italian way of making Eurobeat. But the problem is they're so hyper-focused on the sounds. And mind you, the sounds for making Eurobeat are out there. They exist. It is no longer inherently a problem about accessibility. Instead, I think it's a matter of songwriting. I really do think that it's kind of comes back to what we were talking about earlier, the conversation that Turbo and I were having about songwriting, about making a melody and writing a song that happens to be Eurobeat, or perhaps in the way that you're looking for, the way that the Italians did it. And I feel like I need to take a sip. Someone asked me to do a hydrate 7 minutes ago. Oh, another hydrate. Okay. And yeah, while I think there's going to be some evolutions in the style, as anything does over time, like Eurobeat itself already has evolved and will continue to evolve. On the same token, the magic, thank you for that, Bats, of older Italian Eurobeat is the instruments they use, analog stuff instead of digital programs. It feels different. So, I can understand what you're on about here. There were limitations to analog limitations to analog synthesis and using those synthesizers that is different from doing everything digitally. On the same token, we've come a long way in what is used. And I would also kind of challenge some of that. I would say, I feel like Eurobeat can still be Eurobeat even if it's purely digital. I feel like to reduce magic of a genre to pure sound design, with some exceptions, obviously, it depends on the genre. I think for Eurobeat, whittling it down to just pure sound design seems a bit restrictive. I feel like we can do a lot that gets very close to how analog synths used to behave in digital spaces. And yes, there was something about working around those problems that aren't present now, so the musicianship had to be up to par. I'd even go so far as to say, I feel like Eurobeat Union has the old ABC sound a lot better than I've heard in folks that used to be part of it, because they actually have, they have the sounds, they have the sound design. However, I feel like it. See, I have to go do some work, but I hope to be back before stream ends. If not, I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I hope you rest your voice enough to do what you need to be doing. I don't think I know any indie artists that actually pick up a guitar and play the songs. Generalization, I know. So here's where I'll grant you. Let's assume for a second that none of us can play the guitar. I may have played like a couple of bits of an acoustic on one of my own, but the point is, what would that do? Let's even include piano. Let's include guitar and piano in that. Let's say they don't play the instruments in. What part does that affect? Is that the songwriting? Is that the production? Is Eurobeat better or worse because they can play the guitar? What's the end of that? I think it was Bangarang, like the end of Bangarang with like Skrillex, like, they are not artists because no one can play the guitar, which is ironic because Skrillex can play the guitar. Actual instruments sound different than DAWs, VSTs. Of course they do. Of course. I mean, just listen to Bazookistan versus anything else from Royal Eurobeat Orchestra of Bazookistan. That's a live brass. Of course it's going to sound different. And a live bass guitar is going to sound very different than a synth guitar. But here's the thing. Here's the kicker. To what end? Actually, let's say that you somehow accomplished a perfectly analog Eurobeat act. Someone that can play a drum set like an actual Eurobeat drum machine. Someone that can play a piano and somehow have it sound like Miles. Is it Miles Nator X66? I'm gonna call you Miles if that's okay. Thanks so much for the follow on the stream. It is great to have you here. I am Odyssey of Odyssey Eurobeat, and my music has been featured in Super Eurobeat, Initial D, DDR, and Matara Kanavi Shoujo. It is great to have you here. Right. And then, by the way, Jimmy, I understand this is getting into a pretty thick discussion. If we're getting too far, if you need to take care of anything, please let me know. I don't want to keep you on the hook. And I hope I'm not coming down on you too hard either. Like, please let me know if ever I misstep. Or like step over the line. I feel like I'm okay with hearing a song that is perfectly analog and a song that is perfectly digital if the musicianship is still good. I don't care if it came from a physical JD800 or a Serum preset. I think that's the issue. I should go to bed. No, we need to have more of these discussions because we haven't been talking for too long. That's fair. I just wanted to make sure that, we were staying respectful and that I'm, that we're being good. I should let you go to sleep though. Jimmy, thank you so much for popping in. Thank you for a little bit of sparring with me on some of these things. And I appreciate you having this discussion. It's fair that you don't care about the different original instruments, but once again, that's taste. That's fair. And I appreciate that you see it that way too. As long as we don't go around bashing other things for having those properties or not having those properties, I will let you rest. And you can like what you like. No, come on. We just have, okay. Oh, you. All right. Sleep well, Jimmy. Thank you so much for popping in. I mean, there's taste and there's being brought. Yeah. I think we can get into different parts of the Eurobeat discussion now. I think let's be fair about it. Microwave Man really just. Okay, that took me a second. Personally, love how accessible music production is these days. All right, take care, Real Daniel. Thank you so much for popping in. Ciao, ciao. Why does that have Pyon energy? Pyon. Sorry. Hold on, I need to take a sip. I don't know. I guess, oh, Daniel. Okay, let me take care of that for you. All right, ready? And there you go. So as you can tell, I care a certain amount about Eurobeat. By the way, I got a little bit profane in some of the some of the discussions that happen around stuff. $60, a free VST or two, and some drum samples, and the world is yours. It's honestly really exciting to me. How do I say? I think I'll say this. I feel like, and mind you, there are ethics to how things are produced. For instance, if I bought samples of a drum machine, you know, authorized by the folks that make that drum machine, and I got that reference, Aaron. Oh no. What's a phone? Who am I? You know, if you bought samples of a drum machine and, you know, you bought your presets and your synthesizers and you use that to make something that sounds like it's older, I think that's fine. If you send it off to AI, no. Write your own damn music. But I do think that there is something to be said for, I don't think people necessarily care if the source of a sound is analog or digital. I think we've come a long way in like being able to replicate analog behavior and the richness and saturation that analog used to have. That's not to say that we get it 100% perfect, but there comes a point where the average listener is fine with it. It's like, okay, how do I say? For those who produce music, have you ever just like taken a line, like something that's playing a melody, and just changed the instrument to something completely different? Like say that it was like a piano line, and you replace it with like a square wave, or a guitar, or a xylophone, piano to accordion. And it's not to say that it's no effect. Obviously, it has some. It has some effect on how it sounds. But if you have something that's close, if you have something that sounds close enough, it's not to say that it's better or worse. It's like, it's kind of what you want to do with that sound. It's your intention for the sound. Sometimes it can be magical. Absolutely. And please understand, I think a lot of what I'm saying is specific to Eurobeat. For instance, I'm not gonna tell you that sound design doesn't matter for dubstep. Obviously it does. That genre is very much sound design exclusive. As well as stuff like synthwave. Where it's like inherently trying to sound a specific way. So of course sound design and the sources and things like that are going to be crucial. But I think for Eurobeat, given how it's evolved from high energy, like night chord high energy in Italo disco, to a little bit more aggressive, to a little bit faster, a little bit more rock edge to it, to, you know, a little bit more digital sounding, to all these different flavors and subsets, to the varieties of it. I think that's the thing. Eurobeat, to me, has an air of rave to it. And I think with that, because it has rave to it, I think with rave, yes, there are important sounds, but it's not inherently about, welcome back, Pixie, capture vibes. There it is. There it is. Because, like, look, you can have a detuned saw, you know, a saw from, like, the Access Virus. And it does sound different from the one that would come from a JP2000. But it's not to say that one is going to be inherently better or worse. Yeah? What I thought of sometimes is that a Eurobeat has a very one-sided pattern. All songs have the same pattern of intro, riff, verse, chorus, riff. Then I thought of the fact that a lot of other music, like house and dubstep, also kind of sounds the same at times. Yeah, exactly. It's simply a structure. I'm guilty of using the Eurobeat structure often, even in songs that aren't Eurobeat. Because it works. Think of a formula as the edges of your canvas. And that way we could even kind of imagine Eurobeat as a very square canvas. You still have a lot of control over what the paints are. Bosh, and this is where the bass goes wildfire. I see. Sorry. The point that I was trying to make is more like, Yeah, people did used to give me grief for, actually that's the thing. And how do I say? I don't think that the folks that have thought about this kind of thing, like Jimmy, were the ones that were going out of their way to like talk poorly about me and be like, oh, screw Odyssey. She's not a 50-year-old Italian man, so I'm going to talk smack about her. Or, oh, Odyssey, your beat came out for clout. Like that happened one time. I think it's when folks get obsessive about it, when it's like, oh, it must be. And it's like, okay, who put you in charge of the genre? Random listener who has not made Eurobeat? It is interesting to me. And that's not to say that everyone has to make Eurobeat to have an opinion on it. But I do think there are some limitations. I will say that I think that someone who's actually worked in the genre might have qualifications about what counts or not over someone that hasn't. And even then, it's an abstract discussion. What is a genre and how does one determine deviation, right? I do think, okay, right, back to like Eurobeat getting out in the world. If you didn't see my message, I don't think I saw it. I'm sorry. I think if you think about it from a music making standpoint, it's very high effort. The amount of instruments into songs and just coming up with 200 plus melodies and lyrics, not to mention, as far as I know, producers were under a big time crunch back then. That checks out, actually. If I understand right, early A Beat C used to have very, very harsh time constraints. I believe some of them used to even sleep in like Japan time. They used to like live their day in Japan time. I'm not sure if that was A Beat C though. I forget who that was. The issue is more to do with time records. Yeah, like, and mind you, there does become a certain amount of generic that comes out. Oh, let me take a sip. I'll even go so far as to say one of my favorite labels at the very start of, you know, my understanding what Eurobeat was is High Energy Attack. These are the folks that released Caballero with Sombrero in 3 different forms. 3! And mind you, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, that's terrible. And this is also a genre that spawns plenty of like, kinda, yeah, oh, 4, right. There's Caballero with Sombrero, Moto Moto Inamoto. There was the cover by Baby Bazooka, and then there was Caballero with Umbrella. Yeah, Bazooka Girl, wasn't that a remake of Bazooka Man? And by the way, Energy Attack isn't the only one that does it. How many songs ripped off Pada Pada Queen? I think TFM Take might have done a video on the matter. Oh, take care, Bob Seal. Thank you so much for popping in. Bit too geeked in. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got a little carried away. Have a good rest of your evening, okay? It's hard for me not to care, right? At some point, just making literally anything is gonna hone that craft, though. It's probably why we have some of the best songs in dance music from Eurobeat. I'm not wording well. No, I feel like I kind of hear you on that. Thank you for that, thanks. Hot Vampire. So there is something to be said about intentional remakes and, you know, crossovers, because I know there was that, you know, Go-To and the Go-Go Girls were, you know, doing crossovers. I think they did, it was Hot Vampire and, oh, what was it? What was the one that the Go-To boys did? So what I'm talking about is more stuff like Boom Boom Sexy Lady and Bye Bye Tokyo and other songs that are kind of... I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, songs don't get samey. They do. But how do I say? It is very high effort. But on the same token, I do also feel like, and mind you, a lot of what I'm positioning is my own opinion. You know, if we're dealing with, oh, Eurobeat is worse because of this, that, or whatever, or Eurobeat, you know, needs to change in a certain way, then, you know, that posits a few things, right? You know, I think thank you for the headbats. Earlier we were talking about like, oh, Eurobeat doesn't need to change for it to be marketed, but it might need to adapt in order to, rub shoulders with other genres. I think even the sound of it, I think about this carefully, and I think you should too. Consider the kind of Eurobeat that people go out of their way to find. Even if they're new, even if all they know is Eurobeat is cars and tofu, etc. Think about the songs that they hear and how they hear it and what they seek out. I don't think it's in the new sound design. And that's not to say that the new sound design is bad. There can be issues with it. I think there are some things about the old way that I seek to have, like a more saturated, richer sound. But I feel like what drew people in was a lushness and musical interest. I said earlier, discovering what's below the iceberg, the 100 plus aliases, labels, and songs. Yeah, I feel that. There is some barrier to that. There's a big reason that I stopped using as many aliases, why I tend to use Odyssey Eurobeat more specifically. Like, just as me. Ew, I just breathed weird. I think... And it's not to say that Eurobeat shouldn't change either. I think there is a lot of room for it to grow. But instead of being tethered to the past, instead of being, forced to sound the way it used to, or like, oh, it's not good until it sounds that way, instead, try to see what we gained from that and see if we can bring that with us into the future. But I will carry it along. Sorry. I feel like that's the weird crossroads that I've seen with, how to make Eurobeat accessible outside of, putting it in front of people, putting it out at cons and making the albums available for purchase everywhere. But I'll even say this, by the way. I think I'd go so far as to say if Eurobeat albums were promoted where they're available, Annalie Gordon, early voice of original, later, etc. I actually co-wrote a ton of Eurobeat songs. Like she co-wrote Rhythm of the Night? Like, it's just the rhythm of the night. Oh, no way. Wow. What a legend. I consider my mind blown. Jeez Louise. I feel like that's, yeah, Audipop. How do I say? I don't think Eurobeat has to change to be sold, but I think for it to thrive, in order for it to get out into the rest of the world, I think it needs to share space. I think it needs to share space with other genres. I think Eurobeat should be put in the same kind of spaces that you hear house and trance and dubstep and techno. Not because, or even like hyperpop. Actually, hyperpop would probably be a great start. Future bass. More lighthearted genres that have a higher tempo. I think there is room for it. And in order for it to do that, and in order perhaps if we wanted it to compete more directly, there are things that we can do with the sound that isn't the way that it used to be done. I feel like, I think Cranky actually did a song that combined Eurobeat and high tech. And I think it's like, oh goodness, let me see if I can pull it up. Excuse me. Okay, so Cranky versus High Tech Ninja, hit. Hello, Fritz, good to see you. Hope you're doing well today. Yeah, like, it's by Cranky. And, Cranky's done some stuff in the Eurobeat and hyper-techno world. Oh, wink, that I can do. 1 second. been a minute since I've reading that one. It has been a bit. I hope you're doing well. Another hydrate. Annerly Gordon also co-wrote songs for Wigfield. On her website, there's a whole describe. I thought she was Wigfield, wasn't she? Like, I thought she was the vocalist for Wigfield. I don't know. I think that's part of why, if any of you are considering making Eurobeat, and by the way, you're free to clip this or whatever. And mind you, I think this is where I might differ from those who crave specific sounds. Specific, like, oh, it must be analog, it must be this kind of sound, it must be the way that the Italian way used to do it. This is where I differ. Write songs. Get a sheet of paper. Write some chords down in a row. Or even just some lyrics. And string them together into a melody, into some chords. Get something that you could hand to a guitar player or a piano player or even just throw into a DAW. Giorgio Spagna, who also wrote Rhythm of the Night, was also a writer at Time Records. He was responsible for Matteo Setti's work at... No kidding! That's really cool. I did not know that. Sorry, excuse me. I think for those who are... The easiest part about Eurobeat is lyrics. It doesn't need to make sense at all. So, yes, but I have a challenge. I could make another song that goes Burning Love, Car Baby, Fire Desire, Tonight, Drift Tokyo, etc., etc. I could crank that out easy. I very much could do that. I think there is space for Eurobeat to be something more. In fact, this was kind of the position that the early labels used to claim to have. The sense that songwriting was at the core. ABC used to pride themselves on like, oh, we've made these different versions of our songs because the songs behind them are so good. They don't have to make sense, but they have to vibe, and that's harder than you think. Exactly. I'll say this. Something that I'll give those writers and the Italians that didn't speak English natively, writing for folks in Japan that didn't speak English natively. Oh, take care, Vieira. Thank you so much for popping in. I think for them, it had to feel the same. And to get something to feel the same without the same lyrical capabilities is hard. I hate to say it this way, but they were able to structure Burning Love, Car Baby, Fire Desire, Tonight in such a way where it still clicked. Think about the song Night of Fire. Do you think that was the only song out there that was talking about fire and night and whatever? Hell no. And yet, in a space where that entire sense was saturated, or perhaps getting saturated, it stood out as the biggest Eurobeat hit of all time. I mean, even you wrote kind of nonsensical lyrics. Yeah, I have. I've done that before. I'm prone to the occasional silliness. I'm not against a silliness here and there, but I think the thing is, there's a difference between being able to write nonsensical lyrics and believing them to be standard. And don't get me wrong, I do think that they were prominent. But the question that I would ask is, if Eurobeat writers of their time could write more lyrically comprehensive lyrics, more meaningful or I guess grammatically appropriate, would they? And it maybe no. It could very well be that like we have to keep the language to such that our audience can understand it. And when it's a second language for everyone involved, it gets a little difficult, right? So meaningful lyrics have way more time, not very ideal under a time crunch. And I'll even go so far as to say this is something that I think High Energy Attack did really well. I almost want to say that like they took phrases and clumps and like there's a lot of High Energy Attack songs where it feels like it's snippets, you know, little vignettes of sentences strung together. Do you really catch me? Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mark Farina commented about how long it takes to produce Eurobeat compared to a regular. I did not know that. Where was this? Actually, Mako. And by the way, I'm not doubting you. I actually really want to read that. I would love to understand that better, because like my understanding of Eurobeat history and the means by which it was produced is lacking. Actual question, how much Eurobeat is out there in Italian, and are they more lyrically comprehensive? I do know there is a Eurobeat remix of the song Nel Blu di Pinto di Blu. High Energy Tech has a lot of very silly songs like Babushka or... Yeah, and then of course there's, you know, Franz Tornado by Mad Cow, and then Mad Cow by Franz Tornado. I feel like Mad Cow by Franz Tornado makes a little bit of sense, because like Mad Cow, Mad Cow, Mad Cow, and in this position of me, I love to do it. And it talks about like branding and like some cow related things. Latch me up and brand me twice. That's really grim. Yeah, Mad Cow by Franz Tornado slaps. I really like a lot of High Energy Attack stuff. Bazooka Pistolero. Not the most lyrically sensical. Oh, I'm sorry, in Italian. No, I feel like, so, ooh, that's actually a good question, because it depends on how far back you go. Ow. Hello, Type 2T, good to see you. I think it depends on how far back you go. Because, like, even in, like, the high energy, Italo disco kind of time, there was still a lot of English. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some written in Italian, but I feel like the trend was largely to write in English. That's not to say it never happened. Obviously, I think there must be some. I wouldn't be able to tell you if there is, but I think the trend was to write in English. And later on, I think, you know, Eurobeat, when it began to establish its own identity, aw, shucks. Pyon. I think as it began to build its own identity, it still stayed in English. Because, you know, okay, so we have, you know, folks in Italy writing music for people in Japan. And if we write in Italian, they won't understand it. And if we write it in Japan, we don't understand it very well. So why don't we just do this middle ground that's kind of shared space? So I feel like even early on, the decision to keep things in English was conscious. Whether or not it was sensical is another story, but I feel like even then, actually, I'd even go so far as I think this is a point in High Energy Attack's favor. They've been able to write some what the hell kind of Eurobeat, and it still slaps. Heard that some Eurobeat is actually German made, or not all of it is made. I think that checks out, because some of it, a lot of it started in Italy. You know, it came from High Energy and Italo disco. But over time, not all Eurobeat was produced in Italy. I think there was some made in Germany. I think there was some that was made in like Sweden. And part of the team at Dima, I believe, is in Thailand, if I'm not mistaken. Germany is in Europe. Yes, you're right. But I think it's generally stayed in Italy. Eurodance and Italo disco is around the range of UK, Germany, and Belgium. That sounds about right. So I feel like they were making similar styles, so why not just make it all at the same, you know, in the same house at the same time? Aw, Jesse, thank you. Sorry, I just realized that, wow, a Eurobeat streamer actually talking about Eurobeat. Imagine that. I've finally done it instead of moaning. I don't know. I think that's what makes Eurobeat so fascinating to me. Then Italy went, ooh, and thank you for that, Pats. And took inspiration mainly, Saw on PWL. I guess here's the thing. A lot of my early understanding of Eurobeat was from sources that weren't necessarily Italian. Or at least not always guaranteed to be Italian. I remember, you know, I found Eurobeat through DDR, and yeah, a lot of the early stuff was Italian, but there was also... you know, there was also some stuff produced in Japan. There's a lot of stuff that I listened to that turned out, yeah, that was in Japan, or it was made with a Japanese audience in mind. In fact, I would go so far as to say, I think part of why I like J-Euro and part of why I like a lot of independent stuff, part of my introduction to Eurobeat was through DJ Boosh, Maddie Lim. She's still around. She's making music for games and such. She's amazing. I was looking for DJ Command, and I think he had a remix of Hare Hare Yukai from The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, and so did DJ Boosh. And I ended up bumping into DJ Boosh through accidentally trying to find DJ Command. I'm like, this is great too. Oh, there's more? There's Eurobeat of this? There's this kind of more trancey remix of the song that Yuki sings that I didn't know about until now? I think it's like, I like Eurobeat in several forms. I don't need, how do I say? Okay, this is gonna sound weird, but bear with me. My dad really likes cannoli. And he's used to it being made a certain way. There's the family recipe, just like mom used to make, right? And he doesn't have too much of a sweet tooth, but it comes out every once in a blue moon. And occasionally, if he sees it on the menu, he's gonna get the cannoli. And the verdict is usually that it doesn't work out. But there are some places and there are some people who manage to nail it. There are some people that manage to really knock it out of the park. And it's not necessarily the way that his mom used to make it, although there are some things that are in common. Well-made cannoli probably shares similar properties, right? Things to do with aniseed and the cherry and the filling, etc. So for me, I guess if the ingredients are right and it's prepared the same way, it doesn't have to be ingredients from Italy. It doesn't have to be, a process only done in Italy or like in Italian air, I think the recipe can be Italian, but the ingredients can be what you have. Whether you're remixing something from Toho or My Little Pony Friendship is Magic or a VTuber, or you're making something original, I really think that what differences a song has from the way that we know it is valuable. By the way, I don't always like indie work. I don't even always like some of the modern Italian acts. There are sounds that I miss. There are sounds that I like from ye old ways, old with an E, right? There are things that I like about that and that I try to recreate in my own work. But I'm also not gonna sit here and act like every song has to have that. I think, I'll put it this way. I used to knock Norma Sheffield because, why is this Eurobeat so calm? Why is the lead bells? Why does she sound sad? I used to not like Norma Sheffield work. And then I kept listening to it. I tried another Norma Sheffield track and that one actually sounds pretty good. Come to think of it, it reminds me of this one, and actually I kind of like that one too. And over time, I learned to really like Norma Sheffield. And it's not the kind of Eurobeat that I tend to prefer. I like the fast stuff. I like that A-beat-C sound that so many producers try to recreate. I love it. Have you heard my work? Sorry. I need to take a sip. I like that sound, but I think where people deviate is interesting too. How do I say? Some of you might recall that in the early days of their careers, Zomboy was criticized for trying to sound too much like other acts. And, Zomboy is just trying to rip off Skrillex. Zomboy is just trying to rip off Knife Party or whatever. And, excuse me. And I never much cared for the accusations. Because I would listen and it's like, okay, yeah, Zomboy is doing 4 descending notes in a row, like but Knife Party doesn't own that. And how Zomboy does it is different. Or did it? I think since then he's kind of found his own sound. But I kind of liked where Zomboy did things differently. I liked where these artists failed, quote unquote, and in doing so created something interesting. And after a while, we've seen Skrillex step out of the dubstep world, kind of, and Zomboy just dive right into it. Zomboy is now as heavy of a hitter as any of the folks that might have been criticized, you know, from that kind of thing. I like that. And even if I don't like a specific song for something, I'm still going to give it a shot. I still want to hear what they were doing with it. You know, for instance, I've talked about a Eurobeat remix of Your Reality from Doki Doki Literature Club. You know, the original is like, every day, where the Eurobeat remix is a bit more evocative of Night of Fire. It's in a minor key, it's obviously faster, but, and mind you, I feel like in making the end result sound more like Night of Fire, we lost some of the Your Reality-ness that I thought was so cool about it, of what could have been. But I liked hearing what made it different. I liked hearing what they tried, what they did that wouldn't be what I would do, you know? I don't know. Maybe it is just a matter of, like, I'm too easy to please. Maybe my palate is not sufficiently refined. Maybe, you know, with enough time with the old way, I would learn to equally begrudge anything that doesn't sound. It's actually on shuffle. I literally do not, I don't have that set to anything specific. I don't know. Yeah, that is a bit of a coincidence. I'm reminding you to make more glitch hop. I'd love to make more glitch hop. I just need to get through client work first, and then my own Eurobeat releases, and then... words are failing me. I don't know. I like... You know what it is? I'm an art student. Gasp, right? I studied a lot of art and art history and things like that. And I don't like all the art that I saw. I don't like a lot of it at all. But I learned to appreciate it. I discovered Nightcore looking for fast dubstep tracks. That makes sense. I think, like, I can separate my distaste for something from whether or not I think it's bad, or if it denigrates something about art or the genre or whatever. For instance, I am very critical of I'm Superstar by Futura. If I may remove my own particular meme of it for a second. There are things that I criticize about it. You know, I think Futura's vocals don't sound very good on it. I think the lead being the way that it is just grates on my ears as if they're literally taking a cheese grater to it and just sawing away. But I will defend its right to exist. Take care, Sleepy. Thank you so much for popping in. Rest well. The same thing, by the way, with other songs that I don't like. Like I talked about Wild Boys by Rich Hard. I don't like that song at all. The sped up version is a little bit better, but not by much. But I'm also going to defend its right to exist. I'm not going to sit here and call it not Eurobeat because I don't like it. I feel like, I guess my standards for what counts as Eurobeat or not is, it's hard to define, but I do have a few things. And I think something calling itself Eurobeat does at least count for something. I've done enough yapping to where I need to stop and take a little bit of a potty break. First time in 2.5 hours, right? Almost 2.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get words on stream going for you. Go ahead and properties. Is that there? Right, and I will be right back. I'm back. Did you miss me? Hello, hello, I'm back. Hope you're all doing well today. Good job on the rounds, by the way. Did I miss anything? Oh, hydrate. Right, gotta do that. Actually, no, I'm gonna have a sip of this as well. Pixie went poof. Oh no! I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, leave it that that's. I don't like when Pixie goes poof. I like when she's here. So we have about another half hour left. We don't have to talk about Eurobeat the whole time. We can if we want to, but ooh, peanut butter cookies, do your thing, do what you gotta do, do what you gotta do. I don't know. I feel like I will say I occasionally worry if I'm about Eurobeat enough, if that makes sense. Like, I know a lot of folks, you know, are here for streams and for funny, haha, redhead, big booba girl, do booba things, haha. But also a lot of, yeah, exactly, it's in my name. Like, before I was a streamer, VTuber, I was a musician. And Eurobeat is at least some part of what I do and who I am. So, I occasionally worry about, you know, like if I'm doing enough of that. Oh, another hydrate that I can do. Go. Unless you plan to rename yourself to Odyssey VTuber. Not really. I've thought about stuff like that before. But, what I'll say is this. Eurobeat will always be central to what I'm doing. Yes, I'm doing VTubing and such, but I would not stop making Eurobeat to pursue my streaming career. Because right now, it's not a decision I have to make. They are hand in hand. You know, one exists to promote the other, and vice versa. This is part of the Odyssey brand, the Odyssey experience. Which sounds like a really crappy, like, Las Vegas show. The Odyssey experience! Welcome, everybody! Sorry. The point is more like, I've thought about, you know, separating my VTuber and Eurobeat, situations. Like, I've thought about rebranding to just Odyssey, for VTubing, and then we'd still make Eurobeat and talk about Eurobeat and such on here, but it'd make things simpler. But I'll also put it another way. I just recently applied for a business, like a doing business as license. I'm no longer just self-employed. Odyssey Eurobeat is now essentially a company. So on some level, I better use that, right? Yeah, hey! I think I need to talk to Tessa about what that implies and anything else I need to change about it. Yeah. I did that hydrate. But yeah, no. I feel like as I've had so much fun doing like just chatting and playing games and, you know, kind of having more about myself. I've always had that little fear in the back of my head. I'm like, am I talking about Eurobeat enough? Am I talking about, you know, am I talking about that? I remember that was a big fear starting out for me. It's like, am I, you know, will I lose that core of my identity? You know, of like my professional identity. Business girl vibes, actually would love to see you in a suit. You look, I would love to have like a really nice suit with like the pencil skirt and like the tights and like the vest. Am I Eurobeat enough? Yes, thank you, Mako. Is my content Eurobeat enough? It was more my worry. I will also say, I'm gonna be real with you, and this is not me saying that I'm gonna drop it. My stuff tends to do better when it's just chatting or games or things like that. Not to say that music production does bad. I think music production is my second best performing kind of stream content. Aw, Mako, ooh, love. Words are failing me. My best performing stuff is just chatting. It's this. Earlier, we were floating around like the 48 viewer mark. I'm not sure what I did that drove people away, but, how do I say? Words. It's not to say that I would stop making Eurobeat if the numbers kept going down. More just, Eurobeat is not the only thing I do anymore, and figuring out that balance has been interesting. I want to figure out, you know, how to do so respectfully. Because, I'm not going to throw away Eurobeat just to be, you know, streamer girl, yes! But I am really having a lot of fun with this. I like... maybe I can have a little bit of streamer girl as a treat. I like being in front of you in a bunny girl outfit and really long red hair, and frankly, the girls are looking amazing today. And you know, laughing about stuff, making questionable noises sometimes, and I like that. Still considering doing voice acting stuff. Not in the near future. I would need to get a lot of things cleared out before I'd be willing to devote that time, you know? I want to have some fun with my voice before I start getting into like full tilt voice acting. Yeah, I think there's some things that I want to do before I'd be ready to really like dive into that. I'd still do stuff like voice packs and VTubery stuff, you know? Tailored skirt suits are... Yes. And listen. The old me looked pretty good in a suit. Can you imagine the new me? No, not new me. The new me. Although I imagine new me would also look very good in that kind of thing. Sorry. I digress. Yeah, no. Thank you is my point. Thank you for listening to me ramble about Eurobeat and things like that from time to time. I know that it can get a little heavy, a little thick. Hello, Pocket Gel. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well today. I think, obviously, as some of you might have seen, I do have some opinions on the matter. But there also comes the point of how much do you all enjoy. I saw that one, Hannah. Thank you for that, by the way. I am probably not going to be able to hop into something like that for a little while. If ever I can, you know, I may be in touch. But for now, I don't think I'm going to be able to enroll in the kind of thing that was showing up there. Thank you, though. Very kind of you to consider me. Excuse me. Weird question. Who here hasn't seen the video, the new release today? I don't know, I feel like taking the attention off myself for a second. Wow. Go here, grab the video. You haven't? Oh my. Well. I think we have some changes to make. All right. Let me crack it open. Oh, nope. I didn't tell you to start. There we go. All right. Well, I'm going to take a miniature break. And, yeah, let's get to it.
Would it go
Thank you. It's got to move a few things around. Thank you for that, Bats. I need to put that down to minus 16 or so. There we go. Welcome back, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. Honestly, like, this is what, my, like, third Numi remix in particular? I think I need to lay off. Like, don't get me wrong, super proud of it, and Numi's okay. I want to talk about something, actually, about the song in particular. Thank you for that, Bats. So, I actually bugged Numi for the lyrics. The issue was, at the time, I had asked her in the middle of something. And I was like, oh yeah, no worries, do your thing. And it got to a point where it's like, you know what, I'm not gonna bug her. I'm not gonna push the point. I'm not gonna like twist her arm for it, you know? So I listened to the song and I looked at what was on Genius. And some of what was on Genius didn't really click right. It didn't seem right. So most of it was Genius, but some of it was just like what I heard, and it's like, you know what? That sounds off. I'm gonna put what I hear. So those lyrics might be wrong. That said, though, like, fair warning, I'm gonna gush about Numi's music again. Numi's just good. Numi just, like, she makes the kind of music that I would recommend to people who don't like VTubers or even streamers. It's like, okay, listen to her stuff. It's just good as it is. Even a song about pyon, like, unironically slaps. Unironically slaps. I really do think that. Like, I don't know, it's just every time that I listen to something new, like the newest remix wasn't even from her newest album. It was just from the meme album. Like, Brain Rot and Manic and some of the stuff from the newest album. Amazing. I even go so far as to say Brain Rot shows a level of musical genius between Numi and Holmes that I don't think I've heard elsewhere in like the sphere of VTubers that release music. Yeah, that's enough gushing about stuff from me. Yeah. We're down to the last, like, 15 minutes or so. How y'all doing, by the way? I feel like I might have lost you. Eepy. Aw. Well, I can let you to it. It's been a full day, hasn't it? I'm here. Aw, I'm glad you're here. Yeah. Let's see who's streaming. Not that we're dropping out right away, but who knows? Following live. Yeah. Right. Yeah, what's on your minds? What's on your hearts? I would like to give the next 15 minutes or so to you. Any questions, comments, remarks, redemptions? Things that we didn't cover in the Eurobeat discussion that you might have been holding on to. Things that we didn't cover about the new song that came out that I didn't cover. Stuff about me. I should also remind here, next week, I think I'm gonna just stream 2 days out of that week. Probably Monday and Tuesday. So then I have Wednesday onward to rest my voice. There's some folks that might not have caught that when we talked about it at the beginning of the stream. The day that I took off to rest my voice felt really good. And that's a bad sign. Because that means that, well, it's needed that for some time now. And if I take a little bit more time off to let it rest and recover, I feel like we'll be on to something in terms of, recovery. And I do worry about that. I've just heard Lovely Howdy Cowboy and now need more country-styled hardcore in my life. I see. Yeah. Anything else? last chance for a couple of days to hear me do voice redemptions. Just saying. Or you could fill those bars and have me do something more cursed. That reminds me, I haven't checked Twitter. Okay. Thankfully, it didn't explode too much. That is at least some relief. Dang. Okay. Well. Oh. Well, I did ask for more redemptions, and I guess that is one of them. You know what? No, I'm not even too embarrassed. You know what? Let me take care of you. Oi, shikunare, moe kin. And there's that. Oh, Pocket Jawa. Oh, Pocket Jawa. Are you listening? Let me know when you're hearing this. Yeah? Can you hear me? Good. Pocket Jawa, you are such a good girl. Who's a good girl? It's you. What a good girl you are. I want to give you head pats and remind you just how good of a girl you really are. Good girl. How's that? Who should we raid today? Because I'm starting to sense that we might be feeling. Is that Pumpkin Potion watching something with Saber Spark? That's something I didn't expect. 11 out of 10. Yay! I'm glad that I could take care of you. So I see trees of green, red roses too. Sorry. Mousy, Zen, Alpharad, Snuffy, Chibidoki, Kenya, Leah Kitties. I see Nags. I see Matara. I see Lena. I see Sayu, Pumpkin Potion with Saber Spark. Quinn Bennett. Is Mila streaming? Vex. I see Cabal. I see Alexandria. I do see Mila. It has been a little bit since we've raided Mila, isn't it? Thanks for the pick-me-up today. Yesterday was rough with a family funeral. Thanks for making today that bit more brighter and special. Thank you, Angel. Hannah, I'm sorry to hear about that. I'm glad that today could be a little bit brighter and more special for you. I'm glad for at least that much. And I wish you and yours peace of mind and rest in the days ahead. Because I know this kind of thing can be pretty rough. I see Sanson, I see Fairy Sammy, I see Crub, Yumiko, IRL Donut, Blitzy. Blitzy is starting her streamathon today, and I will be joining Blitzy a couple times over the weekend. Yeah. Tempted to raid Blitzy. Yeah, let's raid Blitzy. Thank you for the headbats. Yeah, I think let's raid Blitzy. I feel like 21 viewers will have a much stronger impact. Let me do that hydrate before we go, though. Yeah. All right, friends. We're going to go ahead and raid the one, the only Blitzy VTuber, the goodest cyber pup that I know. Yeah, I think, yeah, because she's doing the Splatfest with a couple of breaks for stuff like Genshin and Mario Kart and things like that. So it's gonna be a good time. Just pop in, you know, today and then tomorrow and then Sunday. Also, tomorrow, Avanil is doing her birthday-thon to raise the money for a femme version of her avatar, which I think is pretty pog. You know, we are here for very much willing feminization. That is a pretty strong ending song. Friends, I would usually stick around a little longer, but I think I'm just gonna jump right into it. Actually, before we go, allow me to give you one last freebie. I think I'll do this one in English because I want this to stick with you. Welcome back, darling. Would you like dinner? Would you like a bath? Or would you like me? And on that note, let's go ahead and raid Blitzy VTuber. Friends, thank you so much for coming. I will see you on Monday for whatever it ends up being. Oh, I do have something earlier. So yeah, next week's stream will probably be one of the last ones that's late before I go back and evaluate if it needs to be more of a thing. But we're going to raid. I don't think Pixie is here to do the thing, so let's do... That is our message. If you don't have the Audi heart, then any regular heart will do. Just like that. But if you do, then I recommend using the Audi Love emote. We're going to go ahead and raid Blitzy VTuber as day 1 of 3 for her Splatfest Streamathon. And there we go. Bye-bye. Otsukare desu. Bye-bye. See you on Monday. Have a great weekend, okay? Bye-bye. If any of you push the nut button while I'm gone, I'm banning.